Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Notre Dame Primetime Live. I am your host, Ryan Fravel, with my co-host, Sean, and my co-host, Ben, down below. We are back for our 8th episode. Been doing this for, almost 2 months now. So it's been a crazy ride. Glad to be back with everyone. So we are, 11 days or 12 days into fall camp, I want to say, 11 or 12. And we are 19 days away from kickoff. Boys, how are you guys doing?
Just what we were doing?
Yeah.
He said, how are we doing?
Oh, how are we doing? Notre Dame starts, 2 weeks? Get
A little
to
over 2 weeks.
Yeah, get to live the life where 19 and 20-year-olds do not take over my emotional feelings for 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I just had my fantasy draft this past weekend. Drafted Kyron Williams first overall to get in the moon of the Notre Dame season. Not first overall, but first round. I'm ready to talk Notre Dame. I'm excited.
Yeah, speaking of fantasy, we did our college football fantasy, and I did not take Jaden Greathouse, unfortunately, as Ben wanted me to so badly.
Well, no, I'm just saying, if you're going to say Jeremiah Love's better than Ashton Jincy, I expect you to take Jeremiah Love at third overall pick.
Well, to be fair, he was taken with the second overall pick, so I wasn't able to.
Who was first? Arch?
Who was first? I think, was it Jeremiah Smith? I think it was Jeremiah.
No, it wasn't Jeremiah Smith, no. It was the running back out of oh crap. It wasn't Jeremiah Smith. He wasn't until he was the second
someone
wide
picked
receiver
a running back over Jeremiah Love, they're stupid.
Yeah, I forget who it was, but it wasn't Jeremiah Smith because he was second wide receiver to come off the board.
Who was first?
Ryan Williams.
Idiot. God.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't mind. It's close, but you go.
Well, yeah, I remember at the end of that round, we had a guy go back-to-back quarterbacks.
Hey, that's not dumb. You can trade. Very smart. Is it super flex?
No, he messed up. He double clicked and
that guy's not going to change his lineup for the full year. I hope you know.
He's trying to trade Arch. He told me he's going to try to trade Arch for Jeremiah Love, and I said it's not going to happen.
Good luck. All right,
all right. Anyway, speaking of what Ben said, not letting 19 to 20-year-olds, or not 19 to 20, yeah, you said 19 to 20-year-olds control our behavior for the next 4 months, which is going to happen. We did have a big-time recruit come off the board finally. Felt like this has been a year plus in the making.
We interviewed him.
Yeah, we did. And now it's finally feels like we had the final piece of the 2026 class. And that is 4-star Elijah Golden. Unfortunately, Sean, you weren't there with me and Ben. Was it Saturday for his commitment? I know he had some stuff going on, but we actually got to interview one of his coaches at Cardinal Mooney, so that was pretty cool. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing. So I'll be cutting that up and posting that on the channel as well. So be on the lookout for that.
I'd rather interview Elijah Golden than his coach.
So. Yeah, but it was cool. It was really cool. It was really cool to get some.
Fravel's not adding in the part where the only reason we got the interview was because Fravel tried to say that Golden was injured, and the coach just put him on full blast in the catch.
No, so what it was is I had read an article by, I want to say it was Singer, who put in there that the reason his ranking had went down was because he was injured, and his coach said he was not. So yeah, that was on me for believing anything that was written. Anyway, like I said, 4-star D tackle out of Florida. I think, I remember when we interviewed him, like I said, he was a 5-star D tackle. He was one of the top 2 tackles in the country. And his rankings just kind of slowly, went down. But I know, Sean, you were excited about this one. What are your thoughts about getting Elijah Golden as the final piece to the D-line class?
Golden bricked up, man. Confidence levels bricked up. Yeah, I think this is great. I think we need another interior defensive lineman. This is big. I mean, our edges are arguably the best in the country in this class, and to get an elite, very talented interior to go with that. I mean, this class, I wouldn't be surprised if 2028 we're sitting here and all three of those guys are just our starting defensive line from the same class. That's how good this is. I think he's going to make an impact at some point because when he comes as a freshman, a lot of the defensive tackles that we have are it's a weird range. We have the Dawsons, we have the Heinishes. They have like 1, maybe 2 years left, and then you have like Sean Silvano, and that's it. I feel like Anya and everybody doesn't have that much time left, so I could see him having an impact rotating in as a freshman. Would you all agree? Only because of the defensive interior line's eligibility remaining in the next year or two. But I think that this is going to be a great get. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, this is a kid who can get a lot of playing time his freshman year, just because of the way we work stuff around, and also because of the fact, if we're being real, if we're gonna play Navy every year, there's gonna be that game where he's gonna get in. So, but I could definitely see him being a guy who comes like third year. He could be a guy who is just a big part of the defensive line. With the more of the tenure of being a player, not tenure. I keep being a veteran in Notre Dame for his third year. And I think he'll play a lot his sophomore year. He'll get a good amount of playing time his freshman year. He'll probably end up starting a sophomore year.
I'm hoping that we don't see this as a not a knock at all. I interviewed him and he was great, but playing wise, I hope this isn't like another big Tyson Ford type commit, and it doesn't pan out the way we hope it does. I don't anticipate it being like that, but is that a different kid? So I'm not going to compare him like that, but I'm just thinking of Tyson Ford was probably the last big ranking defensive lineman since this. Am I wrong? Or I mean, we've had
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of our starting D linemen aren't really ever highly ranked. Well,
Yeah.
at least the interior D line. It's usually 3 stars where we work into being great players.
So is that something y'all are nervous about, or do you think that I mean, no different player. I'm not thinking that's going to be a thing. I'm just seeing if that's something y'all think.
Like the
I
way I
think,
deal with
yeah,
recruits is that if we're gonna say like if we're gonna be nervous about one recruit because he's similar to another recruit who didn't work out, then we should just completely change the category what we're trying to look for. I
Yeah,
think every kid can be different. And I think also having those recruits that didn't work out, we learn more of what not to do. Like
yeah,
maybe there were mistakes we made with Ford, and now we know of Golden not to make those mistakes.
yeah. And I think Golden's going to be a beast. So I've been excited about this one. This one, my favorite defensive gets in this class. But just something I wanted to bring up because it was like the last. I know, different kid, different situation, different time, but I just didn't know if that was something you were thinking. Do you also have this question? Do you think this is a kid that sticks with Notre Dame?
yeah. I think that extra, what was it, week and a half, 2 weeks that he took to make this decision, I think he really understood how huge of a decision this was, and that he wanted to make sure he got it right. So I think he's
Yeah.
gonna be Notre Dame the rest of the
Well,
way.
Ryan, how do you feel about Golden? We've interviewed him. Great kid. Golden
Yeah.
makes sense under the Golden Dome, Golden helmet. How do you feel?
I think he's obviously, we talked about how stars and everything, our thoughts on that. I think he's still got he's still that 5-star caliber, top 50 caliber tackle.
Really?
I think you just watch the way he moves. The one thing I'm interested to see is obviously, he's at what, 260, 265 right now. So you're going to want him to gain 20 plus pounds when he gets to South Bend. Is he still going to have that same twitch, that same, mobility? His first step is the biggest part of his game. He's got one of those explosive first steps. So I think that's the key there. But I think he's going to play pretty early on in his Notre Dame career, and I think he could be 4-year starter.
Yeah, he could be the Leonard Moore of this class.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing I do want to point out, and I don't know if he was intent on doing this, but it did remind me of the Peyton Bowen commitment to Oklahoma when Peyton threw the Notre Dame hat on the ground. You notice that Golden, out of all the hats he chose to throw the Oklahoma hat on the ground and put on the Irish hat. I don't know if that was his intention, but I just want to say it is because it sounds cool.
Yeah, Peyton Bowen didn't go to Notre Dame, so are you implying?
Yeah, he threw the Notre Dame hat on the ground and chose. Is that what he chose, Oklahoma, or did he choose
So he
Oregon?
picked. No, he chose Oregon. He threw the Notre Dame hat on the ground.
Yeah, and then
But then
he's
later that day, he signed with Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird. That was one of the weirdest recruitments I've ever seen.
And there was a story that like he requested Marcus Freeman to like if he could come back.
Yeah.
I think his
it was
mom, his parents were wanting him to still go to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
his dad wanted him to go to Oklahoma. His mom wanted him to go to Notre Dame. He wanted to go to Oregon. Yeah. It's one of those dynamics where the parents.
His dad got that belt and said, "You're going to Oklahoma."
Well, no, usually the greatest matchup in Notre Dame history is the mom who wants the kid to go to Notre Dame and the uncle who wants the NIL money from Oregon. That's what we used to call it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so after getting Elijah Golden, do you guys think the class is done, set in stone?
No, I think we get
or do you
one
think-
more.
Think we kind of go after, a late flip or something like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we also land like just a 3-star, just to add the depth to the class with how the portal and how maybe Marcus Freeman's anticipating some departures and stuff potentially. I could see them going after maybe another. I think we're done with the D line. Maybe another linebacker or another O-line or something like. I wouldn't be surprised. I think we're going to get one more. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that way too? I think that there's going to be another addition in this class.
Yeah, I think if you're going to add somebody, I think it's going to be on that interior
O-line.
defensive line.
Oh,
because I just think that you can never have too many big bodies, in the inside. So if you go out there and find some 3-star D tackle, that's got that 300 plus pound size that you could just be like a project.
Silva Levon.
Yeah. Like, I think that's something I just like, because you can never have too many big guys in there. What about you, Ben? What do you think?
Yeah, I think this might be it. But I also think it's going to be because we're going to put a lot more focus on making sure we keep our guys. That's the big thing with me. I'm not saying flips are impossible, but just I would rather keep the guys who chose here first and made their positive opinion here first and make sure they want to stay here. We go after a guy who's like wasn't making 100%, rushed it because he wanted to get Twitter followers or something like that, and now he's flipping.
How many is in this class? Was it 27?
27.
Yeah.
That's a good class anyway.
That's a good class number. I agree with Ben that it could be it. I just think we might add one more. But this is the perfect class. This is honestly probably, if this is complete.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the word. I'm not going to say bet. This is a top 3 class I've ever seen at Notre Dame. Do you all feel the same way?
In our lifetime, yeah. In our lifetime, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. For Ben, especially, it's his best for the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
As a Notre Dame fan.
Wow. On status over there.
Oh yeah.
Hey, how was the 98 88 championship, Sean?
I wasn't born yet. Yeah. Fuck you.
All right. Let's get to our next topic. Fall camp kind of rolls on, and the quarterback battle. Everybody's kind of talking about it. Everybody's Team Minchie now, which is so interesting.
I know. It's because of Goolsby and all them guys. Yeah. I told you. Why not Kitty? I told you.
Oh, based off of one practice, which, by the way, we have not really heard anything about the quarterback battle since day one. It's been really quiet.
I think the reason people are saying, "Hey, this could happen," it's looking like Minchie, is because people expected Carr, and the fact that Carr's not picked, people are just going to the opposite. Like, oh, if he's not picked by now, it has to be Minchie, no? All right,
Yeah.
I don't know. You continue to talk, and then we'll give our opinions.
I think it's a I was watching Tyler Horke's video, was it yesterday, and he said that he thinks he's starting to begin. He thinks it's Minchie, and his reasoning was, he thinks a lot of people that assumed that coming out of spring ball that it was Carr's job to lose, and that now, like you said, it's been 11 days of fall camp, and there hasn't really been significant separation. Is what's getting people to glean towards Minchie. I think part of it is because I've seen from other fan bases that Notre Dame has no quarterback. Both of them are garbage. That whole narrative now being spewed out, and I'm like,
no, they're
both maybe Kenny is better than, or has come along more than what we initially thought.
Or maybe Carr's not as good as what we all thought.
Yeah. I just think it was interesting that, Horka also mentioned that during spring, it seemed like Carr was further along than Minchie was, and that Minchie has improved astronomically since spring ball. So everybody hates Coach Gino. Maybe that's
I don't hate Coach Gino. I've never had a problem with him.
Yeah. So
I hate Coach Gino.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
What are your thoughts on it, Ben?
Yeah, I think we just need to wait. I'm still giving my prediction that they're gonna decide next Friday or this Friday. And we'll find out. Is there still supposed to be a press conference on Sunday?
August 17th, yeah.
Yeah, it won't shock me if that's when we find it out, but I bet you they make a decision on Friday.
They said by Monday.
They said by Monday.
Yeah.
They're going to come out of the press conference and be like, oh, give us 24 hours, guys. We'll be back tomorrow.
I will say that I want Carr to win the job.
I think, realistically, when we look at how Notre Dame has treated this team, hearing nothing is better than hearing something with these quarterbacks. Because that means that they're not doing bad enough to where you have to go, where you're going to hear a coach complain. And Notre Dame's always been one of those programs where they kind of kept it tight to the chest, didn't really let a lot of information get leaked. So I wouldn't be completely. I'm not nervous for anything right now.
This is probably the first true quarterback battle that Notre Dame's had since,
like the Sean Kaiser, Malik Zaire. Even then, that was
Ian Book and Wimbush had the job, and then he sucked. Like every single quarterback job, everyone knew. Yeah, Sam Hartman was going to be the quarterback, or Jack Cohn is Tyler, but everyone knew Jack Cohn was going to start, right?
Yeah.
This really is a competition, right? And it's great. You want them to have competition, but what I was saying is, I want CJ Carr to win the job. I truly think CJ Carr's good, but even though I'm not a Minchie lover, right? I'm not yet. Maybe he proved me wrong. Riley Leonard definitely proved me wrong at some point. But if Coach Freeman trusts Kenny Minchie to be this team's quarterback, I trust Kenny Minchie because I trust Coach Freeman. They know something we don't know.
That's why I've been saying since the beginning of all of this, all the way back to when Stephen Jelly versus Carr. I heard people say that Stephen Jelly deserved the spot because he was here longer. And I'm just like, okay, one of three things. One, if Stephen Jelly's been here this long and he still hasn't won the spot, don't you think that shows how good CJ Carr is? That he's making up for the inexperience? And two, I don't care what we think as fans. Like, yeah, we can have our predictions. I trust the coaching staff, besides Gino Gaduli, to make the correct decision. Now, I pray to God they take Gino Gaduli's mic away at the first practice after they announce the starter, because I don't need him to say that our quarterback's not freaking warming up with the team.
Or that he's got pregame jitters.
He's got
I will
pregame
say that
jitters.
I do think for Miami purposes, to be honest, I want CJ Carr. I like CJ Carr. He's the answer. But I do think for Miami purposes of Kenny Minchie being in games, having certain in-game experience, I think maybe that benefits him a little more for a top 10 matchup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I also think I think all the stuff we had, like the day one, it seemed like Notre Dame, obviously it was a little more amplified because we, as Notre Dame fans, we follow everything really closely. But it did feel like day one was kind of that we got anything and everything in terms of intel about how CJ played, how Kenny played. And the Notre Dame media only gets one full practice each spring and fall camp that they get to view. And I think that it was strategically placed by the coaches to let that be the first one. Because what CJ and Kenny look like day one is not going to be what Kenny and CJ look like day 15. Yeah.
I do have two questions. I did see something potentially, first question of CJ Carr potentially not being healthy after the injuries. And my other question is, do you think the person that wins the starting job is the starter all season?
I think it's one of those things where if it's CJ, I think CJ will get longer of a leash. If he struggles, if it's Minchie, I think Minchie will have a shorter leash. And that's not anything against Minchie. I just think it's one of those things where Carr, the coaches loved him. He was Freeman's first big quarterback recruit. He was a borderline 5-star, and his ceiling is higher than Minchie's in terms of just pure arm talent. Minchie's the better athlete, but I think Carr has the higher ceiling and the lower floor. Minchie has a pretty high ceiling, but a lower floor. And I think it would be easier to justify pulling Kenny if he's struggling to put in CJ than it would be CJ being only in the system for a year, struggling like any freshman would, and putting in Kenny. What do you guys think?
I do agree. I think that if it's Kenny Minchie starting, he just has a less of a leash being there longer, and everyone's going to be calling for CJ Carr. But if CJ Carr sucks, it's going to be like, well, he's young, right? Ben, do you think that CJ Carr injury has anything to do with this battle, what do you think about the leash thing that Ryan was talking about?
If he's injured, they've done an amazing job at not talking about it and not letting us know, which is completely out of the ordinary on the side of injuries. AKA, whenever a player's stomach hurts, we find out about it in this program. We can't find out who our starting left tackle is going to be, but we're going to find out. Jalen Sneed doesn't know what a pole guard is. That's insane. Or didn't know what one was. But my main point with that is, like, I don't think he's hurt. I just think he had a really bad first practice, and I think both of them have done really well with all the rest of the practices. The other thing with the leash thing, I don't know how they're going to do it. I definitely could see it being like that. Like, even though he's only played in 13 more snaps than CJ Carr, he's still been in that offense. He's still ran through the offense in practice for a whole season compared to CJ Carr. Because of CJ Carr's injury. And this is I'm gonna sound very stupid for saying this because I openly said I pray to God we never have it happen. And it's a question for you guys. Would you guys be against? Do you guys remember the year of DeShone Kizer versus Malik Zaire QB battle against Texas?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember what Texas did to us?
They beat us with a running back, right?
Well, they beat us with a running back at quarterback.
Yeah.
Would you guys be against, like, how Texas did it, have Sam Ellinger beat a starter, But for certain plays where you know you need to get yardages on the ground, you sub in Kenny Minchie to bring in the second option off the handoff.
That makes me think of Golson and Tommy Reese more so than where they
Yeah.
used.
That was Texas. That Texas team. That was Shane Buechele. That wasn't. Yeah, that was Shane
Yeah,
Buechele and
I'd be against it
I
because
forget
you
who
want.
I thought Ellinger was the starting quarterback for that Texas team.
Ellinger was after. Was the year after.
He was,
Uh,
but I will
okay.
say that
Yeah.
I do think that I want a guy just to be the starter. I don't want to have to deal with coming in and out. They're both inexperienced, and one will probably transfer anyway next year. I want a guy to just get the full experience. I want a guy to get every rep, every situation, because I don't want a situation where, all right, we had CJ Carr, but he subbed out of situations and he's a starter next year. Whoever's the starter, I want
Well,
to
no,
be.
I'm not talking about throughout the whole season. I'm talking about just for this singular Miami game when we know that we're gonna
Oh,
have to beat.
that's even worse then because
You think that's worse?
yeah, because you're going to come in cold off the bench. CJ Carr comes in the third quarter in a tied game because Kenny Minchie hasn't done anything. I don't know.
No, it's not. Let me fix. You're thinking that I'm saying that they're taking out Minchie because he's not. I'm saying like for certain packages, like QB run option, maybe like a little RPO, but nothing like actually him being the running plays and all that. You know what I mean?
I think you will see every report you read. It's like Kenny is going to get on the field some way, and whether that's as the starter or in certain packages on the goal line
I
or
think
like
we
a
see
read
Tyler
option
Buckner
package.
more likely in that game, personally.
I don't know.
I don't know if I trust.
I don't know if I trust
I,
Tyler Buckner. The guy threw 2 picks against South Carolina that scored for the other team. That's
yeah,
my big thing with Tyler Buckner. Even though I love him because only quarterback in their name history
but
throws 7
but
touchdowns.
I will say one thing with that we saw it with Michigan a couple years ago when they were doing the whole Cade McNamara, JJ McCarthy experiment, right? Where they were kind of going back and forth each game. And they would bring in JJ McCarthy for run plays. And it cost Michigan that game against Michigan State because Harbaugh decided to get a little too cute and call a read option with JJ McCarthy and he fumbled the ball. I think that's one thing that you do have to worry about. Like if Kenny's not playing all game and say you're in the second quarter, late second quarter before half, and you're on the goal line and you want to, get a touchdown and say Kenny fumbles because he hasn't been in the game, coming off the bench cold. I think that's something you could potentially have a worry about.
Yeah, I'm very interested. Can I have y'all's prediction? Who's the starter against Miami? Starting with Ryan.
CJ Carr.
I pick CJ Carr still.
Well, you know what? We can't have a very biased cast. I'll just say Kenny Minchie.
I mean, do you think it's CJ Carr though?
Yeah, I think it's CJ Carr. I just don't see the set. You'd have to hear something more bad about CJ Carr compared to that first practice. And I just have not heard it. Like from anybody at all.
Again, I think that people are taking that first practice and running with it. And I just don't understand.
Why are people so too like? People are really flipping on the Kenny Minchie because we haven't heard anything with Carr. Like I feel like everyone now is just like, why not Kenny? Why not Kenny? Why not Kenny? And it's like, why? I don't know. Like I'm just like,
It's recency bias.
yeah,
Because everyone was excited about CJ after the spring game.
yeah. I don't know. I think people are just listening to, like I said, the Goolsbys and the other people who've been saying why not Kenny, and now now that people are starting to get more traction with it, people are like, you know what, I'm okay with Kenny Minchie.
Which I love Goolsby, right? But some of his takes, he's the guy that when we got Sam Hartman was on the why'd you go get Sam Hartman when you have Tyler Buckner? So I'm not really
Sam Hartman.
His evaluation of quarterbacks is questionable.
I mean, let's be realistic. Sam Hartman hasn't done anything since.
But Sam Hartman was better than Tyler Buckner.
Realistically, if we look at realistically, Sam Hartman really underperformed at Notre Dame.
Yeah, and then you look at what he's done the Commanders preseason game last week, and he was like 5 for 18, and then some guy was like, "Hey, my mom thinks you're hot," and he was like, "I don't discriminate against age, Susan." Did y'all see that?
No, I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
Yeah, this fan was like, "Hey, Hartman, Sam, my mom thinks you're hot." And he's like, "What's your mom's name?" He was like, "Susan." He was like, "Well, tell Susan I don't discriminate against age."
Yeah,
I'm
Sam
just saying,
Hartman's
that's
just
what he said in the video.
he's trying to pull the Zach Wilson thing. He's doing it very well because he's also playing like shit.
Uh, what?
But no, Sam Hartman that
No.
1 year did underperform, and it wasn't completely on Hartman. Our play caller legitimately couldn't call
And the
plays for a high school
receivers.
football game, and our wide receivers, what Phasia Lindsey was our best wide receiver that year.
No,
Yeah,
it
it was
was
Faison.
great.
Was
It
it
was
Phasia?
great.
And
Faison
Rico
and
Flores.
Greathouse and
Oh wait,
Flores.
Rico Flores. That's what I'm thinking of.
It was all freshmen.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
And then Flores was like, "I'm out."
Yeah, no. Well, but that's what I mean. Was Sam Hartman was better than Tyler Buckner. With that, there's no discussion there. But yeah,
You want to hear a
and I think
heartbreaker, a Notre Dame recruiting heartbreaker? Guess who my wife drafted in the last round of fantasy?
who?
Will Shipley.
I'm kind of glad how that worked out. We got Audric Estime.
Yeah. That was probably the biggest heartbreak I've ever had with the Notre Dame recruitment.
Which both of
yeah.
those
I don't know
guys
about that one for Avo. I might have liked Will Shipley more than Andrew Gustafson.
did Will Shipley? Is he on an NFL? Like, did he make the NFL? Did he make?
He's on the Eagles, isn't he?
He's a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah,
He's the backup to Barkley.
yeah.
Meanwhile, Estime probably will get cut here in a little bit.
Well, yeah,
You
because
think
Bo
so?
Nix sucks.
Huh?
You think
Bo
so?
Nix sucks.
Well, he's running back 5 right now.
He's
on the
he's not
Broncos.
even the backup to Harvey.
No, it's J.K. Dobbins.
Oh yeah,
It's
J.K.
Harvey.
Dobbins will go into the year as a starter with Harvey, and they're going to just.
It's Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, Jaleel McLaughlin,
Yeah.
and Tyler Beatty, and they had all ahead of Estime, and that's mainly because Estime played good, and he plays good anytime he gets on the field. But the problem is, he's been in the doghouse with Sean Payton ever since he had his fumbling issues last year, and Sean Payton doesn't like when you don't hold on to the football. So,
Well,
yeah.
Sean Payton also paid players to take out other players in games, so I guess Sean Payton doesn't know everything about football.
Estime will get signed somewhere.
Yeah, I think he deserves to.
They could trade
get
him for a 7th round pick. I would do that.
Yeah. All right. So next topic. Obviously, we got, like I said, we got 19 games until kick. The AP poll came out. It's everyone's favorite poll, obviously, right? And kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts. We know the coaches poll last week, which had Notre Dame at 5, and we all kind of thought that was fine. This one, I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not bought into the Miami being a top 10 team.
I love it.
I
I'm
don't.
fine. I don't. Give it to me. Give me a top 10 win to start the season. Give me a top 10 win. I'll take it.
So is in your guys' opinion, Notre Dame too low or too high?
Notre Dame should be 5. Notre Dame should be 5. But I like it for motivation. Get us out of the top 5. Let Marcus Freeman say something about that. I think Texas is only number 1 because of Arch Manning's name, right? I think that if you have Arch Manning with a different name, they wouldn't be number 1. Nor do I think they should be number 1. I do think Penn State is the best team in the country talent-wise this year, but with James Franklin, I'm fine with them being at 2. Clemson, to me, is just dirty. I would have Notre Dame swap with Georgia. The biggest thing in terms of rankings that I felt like a team that was snubbed, I felt like Georgia Tech should be ranked. I don't agree with Florida being ranked. I don't agree with Michigan being ranked. And I don't know. Oh, the biggest one, sorry, Oklahoma being ranked is astronomical. I mean, how are they ranked when they were 6-6 last year? They ain't going to be shit this year because their quarterback's too busy sending Venmo. So I that's my biggest takeaway is they have 2 SEC teams that shouldn't be ranked. I'm okay with Florida being ranked, but they shouldn't be that high. I don't think they're that good. What's the difference between Dylan Raiola and DJ Lagway? That's what a lot of people have been talking about. I do think DJ Lagway is great, and he'll be a great quarterback in the NFL and in college football. But, I mean, realistically, stat-wise and just play-wise, I mean, were they that different last year? So why is Florida ranked 15 and Nebraska unranked? Well, I do think Nebraska should be unranked. So Notre Dame should be 5. Other than that, I'm okay with these rankings. I mean, who would you have in front of Miami is my thing.
I would have Illinois, South Carolina, Arizona State, and SMU ahead of them.
So is this Frable just not liking Miami?
No,
Yeah,
I
mean,
legitimately
I think
Illinois.
Miami.
I think Arizona State's the only one you could make somewhat of a thing for.
South Carolina and Arizona State, but
Yeah,
I
Illinois
still,
definitely not. South
Yeah,
Carolina,
not
you could
SMU.
say the biggest problem with South Carolina is that you don't know with North Sellers how he's going to play. He had a lot of bad moments last year, and just coming off of the bowl game against Illinois where they lost, like it's just hard to put him there.
I think Illinois is a lot better than what people think, and I also think SMU. They went to the ACC championship, something Miami could not do with Cam Ward last year, and they don't have Cam Ward this year. SMU is returning a lot. They're returning everybody not named Brashard Smith, and I just think that SMU right now, I would give them the benefit of the doubt over Miami.
But
Clemson's the team to beat in the ACC. To me, Clemson's the top 3 team in the country.
Yeah, which I agree.
Realistically, you look at SMU last year. I don't think SMU was that good. I think SMU kind of just got the way of the ways. What, they beat BYU, and besides that, they didn't really beat anyone else.
I mean, but
Correct me
that
if I'm
hot
wrong.
wave is great for them because it's rolling into this year, rolled into recruiting.
But also, Miami didn't beat anybody, and they lost to Syracuse and Georgia Tech.
Okay, but you're saying, but main point is being Miami still got better than SMU with their offseason production bringing in, and SMU realistically, we don't know if they were even better than Miami last year.
The lowest I would put Miami is 12. The lowest.
I'd have them at 15. That's where I would have them.
That's insane.
Yeah. I do think if we beat Miami week 1, it would not shock me if we go into the top 3. If certain things go our way.
I think if Notre
LSU
Dame beats Miami and A&M back-to-back, they need to put them in the top 5.
The only way that happens, I think, is if
Clemson loses to LSU and Ohio State loses to Texas. I think they jump us Georgia.
you know what I can see?
Us 3.
I could see, because of how people voters are, especially if we win like a tight game against Miami, I could see them. We'll put LSU ahead of Notre Dame
when they beat a top 10 team.
I don't
thought Miami
think,
was
yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. Like, I don't think that's what they're going to do, because that would be them saying, like, oh, then Clemson is one-loss Clemson is better than undefeated Notre Dame. So you're saying LSU should be better than undefeated Notre Dame then?
I think Clemson beats LSU.
Oh, yeah, I think Clemson beats the crap out of them.
It's at Clemson or LSU.
It's at Clemson.
And I don't think
it's
Clemson.
Death Valley Junior.
With Texas and Ohio State, the only way I see one of those 2 teams dropping is it has to be a blowout.
No, I think both stay in the top 3.
I could definitely see both of them falling out of the top 5 loss.
No.
I don't think so.
It's going to be a close game, and even if they lose by 2 touchdowns, someone's going to be like, "Well, Texas lost the defending national championships team."
I just don't. I could see them. I think top 10. They're guaranteed to stay in the top 10, but I don't see them staying in the top 5, especially with how this looks. Because that would mean Penn State didn't lose, Georgia didn't lose, Texas didn't lose. And if Clemson beats LSU and Notre Dame beats Miami,
they always care more about better losses than wins. I feel like.
I don't know. It's just because it's the first week of the season.
Yeah, I see. I mean, realistically, I think Clemson wins. I think Notre Dame wins. And then I do think whether I want Ohio State to win or not, that one's really 50-50 for me. I think I'm going to pick Ohio State in that game.
Yeah, I'll say this. I do find it kind of ticks me off because I've been hearing, I even heard it again today with Miami fans about the Georgia narrative, right? Which we all talked about before that game was played, what the excuse would be nationally if Notre Dame won that game. Well, it's like Georgia doesn't have their starting quarterback, right?
We still beat Indiana and Penn State.
And Miami, like a Miami fan earlier today was like, Man, they had Gunnar Stockton. That dude's trash. And they had Carson Beck. They beat Notre Dame.
Who did Gunnar
And
Stockton beat? The number one team in the country right now.
he did. He did. And so what you're telling me, right, for all those people that use that narrative, and Ben's talked about this before, the same Georgia team with Gunnar Stockton that Notre Dame beat, but we only beat them because they had Gunnar Stockton, right? They basically have the same team, added a couple receivers, and they're better than Notre Dame with Gunnar Stockton.
Well, see, that's my main point here while I'm looking at this. I'm seeing that the AP poll is just like the coaches poll, but coaches poll did a little less. AP poll is putting more, discounting Notre Dame more because of the quarterback situation.
Yeah, and
Because
yeah,
if
I
they
was about to say
didn't,
that.
then I think Dante Moore. I think that's why we're above Oregon. Because even the AP poll knows that Dante Moore isn't really guaranteed to be better than whoever Notre
And
Dame puts out
Alabama.
there, and Alabama. The only team that I think really, maybe if they were to go full force on it, is maybe LSU would have been above all of us. But even then, I don't think LSU's even that good. I
I
think
don't
they have
either.
the best
I think
quarterback in the.
LSU is
I think
good
they have the
this
best
year.
quarterback in the country, but I don't think they have a better team than Notre Dame or
I
Alabama
think
or
LSU
Oregon.
has a talented team. I just don't think with Brian Kelly and who they face, they're going to have more than 3 losses. Or you know what I'm saying?
Less than 3 losses. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they have the best quarterback in the country. I just don't think that they have a better roster than Alabama, Oregon, and Notre Dame. That you
I
could say
will
makes up for everything else that's wrong with that team.
I will say there is a team that people aren't going to like that I do feel should be ranked not high, but maybe around like 24 range. I do think at some point, and they're close, they're around like 28 or 29. Do you know who I'm talking about?
USC.
USC.
I don't
I
think they
do
should be
think
ranked.
I think USC is going to have a good year this year, but I'm okay with them not being ranked and making them earn it. So
Yeah. Speaking of, like you said, so I was looking at this and there was a graphic that was made on Instagram of the others that received votes going all the way down to the, number 49.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting. So according to, at least on this, Notre Dame has 3 top 25 opponents: Miami, A&M, Boise, and then potential ranked matchups that are right on the outside looking in. You have USC at 30, and then you have Navy at 43, and then Pitt at 46. So that's potentially 3 more ranked
half
matchups
of
Notre
our
Dame could
teams
have.
are top 50 matchups.
Yes, yeah.
Well, and
But our schedule's
that's one thing
garbage.
I brought up was that we could realistically have 6 ranked matchups this year, because it's not impossible to think USC goes to Notre Dame with 1 loss. It's not impossible to think Navy's undefeated going against Notre Dame because that's how bad their
Yeah.
opponents are. It's not impossible to think Pittsburgh could be top 25 because realistically they have 1 guaranteed loss, and that's Clemson on their
Yeah, I
schedule.
could see a Boise losing without Genty though. You made me think of a point, Ben. It kind of added fire to my belly. One of my least favorite college football tropes is, well, it's not a ranked win. They're not ranked right now. I hate that argument. I really do, and it really pisses me off because I don't care if they're ranked now. If they were 24 at the time I beat them, I beat the 24 best team in the country when I played them. They fell out the rankings because I beat them. Like, that argument really pisses me off. The only time I can kind of get it is if it's like a Florida State top 10 team and they finish the year
Yeah.
with 2 wins.
Well, and see, I think that was one thing last year that was just the automatic scapegoat. Like, look at Florida State; they were top 10 in the country, and they only finished with 2 wins. Like, but not every team is Florida State. Like, that was the Florida State will probably not. Well, they should not have that happen again for the next 10 years. Like, once you have a 2 loss season, it's very hard to repeat that.
That was
I
a
forget who said it. It might have
historical.
been Josh Pate was talking about the over under on Florida State. He's like, if Florida State finds a way to only win 5 games, then they're purposely losing because it's so hard to be that bad back to back seasons.
I will say that his over under for Notre Dame computer model, they had it like we had 3 losses. He disagreed with it, but I will say that I mean, I think that like Notre Dame's strength of schedule this year, as of now, is 37. I could see that move up. I could see that move up if Pitt wins.
How do they? Okay, how do they determine strength of schedule? Because that's always been a confusing thing to me. Because it always seems like every SEC team has a top 10 strength of schedule, even though most of their schedule is like unranked SEC teams, right? And that's what it's like. It's
Well,
confusing to me. How do they determine it?
it's because the overall rankings at the end of the day, most SEC teams are still in the top 50, 60 range. Like unless it's like Mississippi State.
But what rankings are they going off of? Are they going off of?
I think they're going off like a FPI with that.
Most
I,
go off FPI. They'll go off the AP, like who's receiving
Rankings.
votes. They'll go off of coaches poll, who's receiving votes. I know CBS Sports when they do their when they're ranking their strength of schedule, they go off of their own personal like 132, 134, or
I mean, Notre
136
Dame
teams.
last year
so
when they
there's some. So there's some bias to it.
I mean,
Like
Notre
there's
Dame at
some.
one
Well, like
point there was like
there's bias in there that they're using their own platform, yes, but there's not. I don't think there's bias like the SEC team's getting this because it's the SEC team. I
I
just think
will.
that's how the platform comes out with it.
I remember Stanford winning a game last year and it moved Notre Dame's strength of schedule up and down. So it changes throughout the season. I I do think that even so, if Notre Dame's strength of schedule is 37th, they had some other teams that were in this top 25 or others that they had a harder schedule than. But out of 100 and what 60 teams having the 37th ranked of schedule, yeah, I'm sorry we don't play a top 10 strength of schedule this year. Notre Dame, the last 10 years, I saw a strength of schedule model. They play a top 30 schedule like 8 out of 10, and they played a top 10 three times, and then they played a top 20 like the rest. Like, sorry, your schedule, yes, is harder, but it's not, doesn't mean we don't have a hard schedule, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see. It all rides on Miami and other people and stuff. It just depends on how others play. I hope we see a bunch of like 10-win teams on our schedule so we could look really good strength of schedule wise.
Well, and that's the other thing. I feel like the people who push the idea, like, oh, Notre Dame's not good because they don't schedule anybody. I think they're just regurgitating the bullshit they hear on Twitter. Like they don't
Yeah.
actually have a thought for themselves. Because if you look at that schedule, you look at where those teams come in their own conference preseason rankings. Besides for like Stanford and NC State and maybe Arkansas, but so that's 9 games where most of those teams are at least in the top 5 of their preseason conference rankings.
Well, what's crazy is people don't understand. Like people make fun of our schedule, right? But then you look at our schedule compared to like a team like Penn State. Penn State plays Villanova, FIU, and I want to say some other
Penn State has the
small.
same amount of ranked opponents.
Yeah, but well, the thing what's crazy is that they don't their non-con is terrible. Like they play an FCS team and 2G5 teams. If you look at Notre Dame's schedule, yeah, we don't have an Ohio State on it. We don't have an Oregon on it, right? But we have a Miami and an A&M,
and the rest
and
are Pittsburgh and
and the
Syracuse.
G5 team we have just so happened to be a college football playoff team last year. And the other G5 team we play, we have to play because it's a rival. So it's not like the thing that annoys me is I've been in spaces and stuff where people are like you said, Ben, regurgitating you can tell they don't know what they're talking about because they'll be like, well, Notre Dame gets to nitpick their schedule and play Army, Navy, and Air Force every year. We haven't played Air Force in 10 years? 10 plus years. We played Army for the first time since 2016. Like, we don't. People have this misconception that
And
because we're an
realistically, we
independent, we
didn't
should
want to
play.
play Army. We only played Army because Miami pulled out of their contract.
Yeah, we had to. Yeah, we were forced to play Army.
Yeah, that was that. Like that's just my whole thing. Like if you're gonna like at least have an open, like have a just a self like an idea that of something that like you create yourself, not this bull crap of oh you don't play anybody, but then go out there and say oh these teams are also better. They don't play anybody either. Like I'm sorry, but Alabama playing 3 FCS schools to start the year or IU playing Indiana State to start the year.
Give Alabama
Larry Bird
credit.
retired 45 years ago, guys.
Give Alabama credit. They did schedule whether they sucked last year or not. They didn't know they suck. They did schedule Florida State.
But then you have a team like Notre Dame, who that was supposed to be a marquee matchup for us last year. That was supposed to be our Miami last year to make up for Miami. And then Florida State sucked. Like, we can't.
I mean, Army was ranked, so I'll take it. But let me ask y'all this. We usually do Shamrock Series every year. I know I saw someone say we might not do it this year, but why?
I don't think we're doing it this year because next year we're supposed to do a big one, aren't we? Is that the one that's in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
At Green Bay Packers Arena or Stadium? I can't remember the name of it. Lambeau Field.
Yeah. I've heard we'll have I think there's been some stuff about like maybe having like an alternate for the USC game. Nothing crazy, but
do
black jerseys?
No, not black jerseys.
I want to see like a green jersey with those because we're gonna do green against Boise, which I like that being the green.
Green on green, by the way, no green on white.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad they're doing the green on green. I like the green on green more than I do the green on white.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's up to the players. The players could say no.
I'm not gonna lie. I could truly care less what we wear as long as we win the game. I've had this opinion my whole life. We don't need to dress up to beat teams. We need to go out there and kick the shit out.
Yeah, hey Ben. Hey, look good, play good.
Yeah. Okay. That's what? Wait, I forgot. Who also said that?
Oregon.
Nebraska said that. How bad was Nebraska last year? Cold take. Nebraska's going 2-10 this year. Dylan Arlo is gonna.
Actually, I think Nebraska has a good chance to be decent in that conference.
I do. I do think they'll be. I think they'll be better than Indiana, just to piss off Indiana fans.
There is a team. I think it's Nebraska, but there is a Big Ten team that has the schedule of Indiana last year. I think it is Nebraska.
Which, by the way, we'll talk about.
Hey, don't you talk bad about Cincinnati, you little Indy Forever fan. Don't you talk about bad about Cincinnati?
Fighting Brandon Sorsby's.
The fighting Joe Royers who torched Vrabel in College Football 26.
Do we have any more topics for the episode? Or no?
Yeah, we do. We haven't. So we're gonna get into our next topic here in a second.
Oh wait, we have another topic. Oh, I thought that was you.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, but first we have we have a message.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select a betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
Anyways, let's get for our final topic. Notre Dame obviously plays NC State. That's who we're on now. Early thoughts on Notre Dame facing off against the Wolfpack. When's the last time we played NC State? It was what? A couple years ago?
No, that was the year that they had the hot dogs because it was a rain delay. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The 4.5 hour rain delay.
Yeah. Like the guy said, make 2025 a winner now. That's what I expect out of Notre Dame in this game. Yeah, I think we're better than NC State. I don't know. NC State's always a team that whenever people think they suck, that year they end up winning 8 to 10 games. So watch them be good out of nowhere, but we should win this game.
Yeah, I'm not too sure who they have at quarterback this year. I actually kind of want to look that up. But
I heard they were gonna
NC
run the I heard they were gonna run the Army triple option out there. I heard they were gonna throw
CJ
football.
Bailey. Okay, so it's going to be a sophomore. I would be. It's one of the NC State's kind of one of those teams. If it's at home, I'm not too worried about it.
It's
You
at
know,
NC State.
if it's it's at home.
I know. I'm saying if it's at NC State, though.
Yeah, if it's at NC State, like because Carter Finley is one of the most underrated places to play in college football. I think this is when Notre Dame's kind of be kind of catching their stride, and I just don't think. I think it'll be maybe like a 10-point game for a majority of the game, but I think Notre Dame pulls away. Ben, any early thoughts on this one?
Just to go with the betting thing that we just got, I would hammer Notre Dame minus 14.5. This just seems like a game where we just win by 3+ scores. Kind of like one of those, like when we used to play like Pitt after after the long stretch of games, and then we just go out there and burst out of nowhere and do really well. But it would not shock me if this is a game where we go up by like 20 at half, and then we just, Kenny Minchie time.
Just kind of
Um,
coast.
yeah, just coast throughout the rest of it. It's just one of those games where you have to respect it because there's still a Division I program. They're still gotta get D1 athletes, but they just have not looked good. And like we said, that's usually when they look their best. So who knows? Maybe I'm wrong.
What was the record last year?
I think they were like 8-4. Let's see, 2020. Uh, 6-7.
They made a bowl game.
Yeah, it was one of those things where remember they started off as like a top 15 team.
Yeah, I'm about to say they started off high then, but
They got steamrolled by Tennessee, and yeah, it was downhill from there.
yeah.
I think there's a lot of underrated teams on the schedule. You're going to hear me say the same theme a lot, though, this year, that I expect to win. I just have high expectations for this season. It's going to be a playoff team. This team is better than last year's team. I truly believe that. So
I do find it interesting that this is the Peacock exclusive game.
I don't hate the Peacock. I mean, it's because I'm a big WWE fan and I have Peacock anyway. So
you gotta get that ESPN $30 a month.
Yeah, I am. I have to. Stupid.
Well, no,
I hate that.
if they wrap it in with Disney Plus and Hulu, I might get it. But besides that, it's time to go stream East.
Yeah. I mean, I was frustrated when I read that. I mean, so I don't know if I have Peacock after. That's the only reason I
do think it's weird. I do think it's weird that they have Peacock exclusive games. It's just
Notre Dame's really the only team in college football to have a Peacock exclusive game besides the Big Ten, or a streaming exclusive game besides the Big Ten, and they get their streaming game every week because they have a contract. But name another college football team that has their own streaming service.
The Longhorn
And
Network.
it makes sense because we have our show on there. So if you're going to watch Here Come the Irish, you're going to have it anyway.
Peacock is. Well, okay. Let's be honest. How often do we all use Peacock?
Bro, dude, I
watch
watch Modern Family like 3 times a day. What do you mean?
Yeah, I will say I use Peacock frequently because of WWE.
It's one of those I don't use.
Olympics.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I use it for like Olympics and stuff, but I only use it for sports. I rarely ever use it to watch like TV or anything like it. It's one of those streaming services I barely use.
Yeah.
I do. Do we know when the first episode's supposed to drop?
Are they doing it again this year?
I don't think they're doing
are.
it again this year.
Yeah, they are.
When I tried to find information, there was no one confirmed they were doing it again. Marcus Freeman never said they were.
Yeah, it's a yearly thing they're doing. Let's see.
Are they doing? I know basketball is yearly. Are they doing it for football yearly?
They're doing a Here Come the Irish for basketball?
Yeah.
I don't want to watch that. I'm sorry.
What, you don't want to hear Mike? You don't want to hear Shrewsbury be like, if you don't like me, you don't have to watch your games.
I care about I'm a Notre Dame basketball fan. Don't get me wrong, but
season 2. It's there. Yeah. Notre Dame is ready for Here Come the Irish season 2. Yeah. So when did the first episode drop last year?
I don't know how to
it-
feel about this.
The first
being
episode
yearly
dropped.
thing, though.
The first episode dropped. Well, what they did 3 straight weeks of it, didn't they? And then they
Well,
took
they
like
had one episode in August, and then then they had 2 to 3 straight weeks, like a month or two later.
yeah, and then they took a
Because
break
the
all the
first
way until the
episode was
college
like,
football
"This is our
playoffs.
captains," and Jack Kaiser's here on the farm.
Yeah, Jack Kaiser getting engaged during media week in New York.
Yeah,
That doesn't make a grown man cry. I don't know what does.
when he cried after that national championship.
Yeah.
That national championship gonna be with me forever. I felt the PTSD when it was brought up again today, and I was like,
Well,
there.
Frable said there's no crying in football, so.
I cry in football.
But what was I gonna say? I think that this is a fine game to have for a Peacock game. It's not the big game. It's not USC. It's not a rivalry game. And it wouldn't shock me if they're kind of putting these games as the Peacock games, just so it's like, hey, we're not stopping you guys from watching the big home games. We're gonna make you guys just watch a mid-level home game.
Yeah, hey, at least they didn't put a ranked matchup on Peacock this year like they did last year.
Well, I don't know. NC State, who's their opening? Oh wait, Clemson. Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, hey, they could. Clemson always struggles with NC State.
Yeah, it is it's a rivalry game, isn't it? Considering.
Yeah. I mean, I think by then, October, NC State could have 1 or 2 losses, depending on their schedule.
Well, that's a rivalry game, like how us and USC is a rivalry game. Like, it's not a real
Remember when
rivalry.
Duke won with Riley Leonard?
Yep, first game of the season.
Dude.
And then remember when
I'm
Riley
getting
Leonard blew his ankle open against us because what's his name? Oh my God, what's the DC name for you or for A&M?
DC.
He was
Elko?
Was Elko the head coach at UNC?
No.
No, yeah.
He's the head coach at Duke.
Oh, not UNC. Oh my God, I'm sick. Duke. Never mind. I was correct. Just the wrong position. Yeah. Elko wanted to blow up Riley Leonard's body to win that game, and Riley Leonard's body said no.
Yeah, I loved if Riley Leonard didn't get hurt in that game, I don't know if he goes to Notre Dame.
So, in the spirit of Voice of College Football bets, what do you guys think the spread will be for this game, and what is your guys' score prediction?
Minus 17.5. Notre Dame wins by 20-plus points. I think the final score will be 45-21.
Ben?
I think the spread will be about 12.5. I could see it getting to that 14.5. But I think Notre Dame ends up. This is gonna be a game where Notre Dame goes up by a lot and then just coasts. So I think they'll end up winning like probably 48 to like 21.
Wow, so just add 3 points to what I said, yeah?
Yep. I can't be exactly like you, Sean.
You can agree.
We have to be
I agree
individuals
with
on this
Sean,
show.
but add 3 more points. We kick a field goal.
Not with our kicker.
Well, no, that'll be the game where we bring in the backup kicker and he kicks, and we're like, well, maybe we should change the kicker out.
Why do off topic, why do all of our kickers have starting jobs in the NFL, but they suck at Notre Dame?
Because why kick it when you can go for 2?
Spencer Schrader, Blake Grupe, and Brandon Aubrey. Come on, man.
Is Mr. Year's not back, is he?
No, we got Brunette from North Carolina.
Yeah.
Burnett.
Yeah. For me, I think I'm kind of in the same boat. I think it's one of the like 11.5, 12.5 spread. I think Notre Dame wins by 24.
Give me a score.
48-24. There you go.
Wow. So fucking original, Frable.
Oh, yeah. We missed the extra point. Could have won by 25.
All right.
We send the punter out there to kick.
Yeah. We went for 2 for Tyler Buckner.
We need Tyler Buckner to get us 1 extra point a year.
But, all right, guys. Well, that's all the topics for today. We had another great show. We should maybe by the time next week's show comes around, maybe we'll know who Notre Dame's starting quarterback is. I know we all. I think that's going to be interesting. It'll be great to talk about.
I'm just saying, when it's Tyler Buckner, I don't want to hear anyone complaining. He is the answer.
Why not Blake Hebert?
Okay, that's not funny.
And you know
You
what?
see me
To
laughing,
start,
Ryan?
yeah, start Teddy Rizak. Screw it.
All right, I'm leaving the episode.
Wait, Nico
Anyways.
can still transfer, right?
Oh, Jesus. All right. Anyways, guys, thank you for all the 197 of you guys watching. Make sure you go over to the Voice of College Football Notre Dame on YouTube. Drop a sub, like, comment. We'll be back next week for another episode. Same time, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. I've been your host, Brian Faville, with my co-host, Sean and Ben. Like I said, we'll be back next week. As always, stay safe and go Irish.